Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kirsty. I'm a personal trainer, a sports nutritionist and a Wim Hof method instructor. And today we're going to be chatting about one of the potential reasons as to why when you embark on a fitness challenge, you end up back at square one. So let's paint a little picture first, because this is taken from my own personal dialogue. But I've been someone that has done a challenge to a T. I followed every process. I followed it down to the gram. Everything needs to be weighed, my training, all these sort of things. I had everything on point. I got to the end and I was like, whew, thank God I can have a break from that. And then for some reason I end up in bad habits again. And I start to question my abilities. And I start to think to myself, okay, maybe I just need to work harder. So I do it again. And I work really, really hard. And I get to the end. And then a couple months later, I end up back at square one again. And I start to question myself, maybe there's something wrong with me. Or maybe in the context which I've worked with many clients who've had a similar story to this. They start a challenge, they're on point for a few weeks, but then they get super tired, super fatigued. They start to feel lethargic, and then training sessions start to drop off. They start to go back to the bad habits they've been trying to get away from. And within this, those feelings of feeling defeated, feeling shameful, feeling like they're a failure, feeling like they need more discipline and they need to work harder and that something is wrong with them. So they try again and again, and they're unable to stick to it. They're following all the things, they're following their macros, they're following their meal plan, they're doing the 6 to 7 days a week workouts, they're training really, really hard, but they end up repeating the same cycle over and over again. I'm curious if any of that has resonated with you, because one of that is my personal dialogue, but also, so many clients I've worked with have had this experience too. So I just want to say, if you can resonate with that, you are not alone. But the question is that why do we always turn back on us and ask ourselves what's wrong with us? Because I have no doubt that in your life somewhere you could prove to yourself that you've got great discipline. Maybe you're like, why can I be disciplined in all these areas, but for some reason when it comes to nutrition and fitness, I just can't stick to it. I guarantee that you have the discipline to do it. But it's not necessarily how much willpower or discipline you have. It's more about the approach based upon what is best for you. Now, I bring this to light because I've been the person who's done lots of challenges and I work with so many clients. And often these challenges are designed to get you the ultimate body transformation in the shortest amount of time. They might be like 6 to 12 weeks in length. They drop your calories, they drop your energy intake, they ramp up your workouts, they get you to work really, really, really hard, take before and after photos, and those after photos and the before photos are what sells the next people into their program. But the common thing that I've found throughout these experiences, through my own journey and also with clients, is that no one actually teaches you the why, the understanding, and the sustainable approach. See, a lot of these approaches essentially come under the all or nothing mentality is what I would look at it as this. Because when we speak about the all or nothing mentality, I think it's great to be all in, right? You want to be all in yourself. But the thing is that you can be all in and take a sustainable approach that will get you further beyond you've ever imagined. See, what these challenges commonly have in there is they got like 5 to 7 days a week, they got all these steps, they drop your calories really low, and all of these things create a stress response. Now, stress should not be demonized. Stress is actually something we need to grow and evolve. Without it, we would stay the same, we'd wither away, and we'd die. We actually need stress to be able to grow into the person we want to be. But all we need is the minimal effective dose. So if we're going from not training at all to training 6 to 7 days a week, dropping the calories really low, trying to do all these other things as well on top of life, it's going to become very stressful and very overwhelming. Now, if you're someone that has been like myself and many clients, we are the type of people that keep pushing, ignoring all the warning signs, and then we get to the end, things start to break down. Your ability to execute the way you used to starts to diminish, and that's where it starts to come into, okay, there's something wrong with me. Maybe I need to work even harder. You start to doubt your abilities in doing anything, and within that, that in turn affects your confidence. But the thing is that if we look at it in that context with doing so much, that's a lot of stress to place on the body and the mind. So coming back to the point where stress is needed for us to grow and evolve, and the minimal effective dose, going from nothing to all of this won't transform you. If anything, it'll teach you a valuable lesson to slow things down. But, within this, it'll end up taking you back to square one. And the reason is because the body, when experiencing a very stressful event, and that can be done through overtraining and undereating, goes back to the set point that felt safe. So that might be the previous weight you're at before, the previous habits you had before, right? Because we always do what is easiest, and the body always tries to get back to what is safest, right? The body is always trying to get us back to a state of balance. So we do need to be knocked out of balance, but only just enough, right? We just need to expand just a little bit and then rest and recover, come back and then expand, right? So what happens is we take on too much, we're here, we stress ourselves out here, the body's like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't have enough resources to deal with what's going on. I can't repair my muscle. I can't deal with what's going on. There's not enough nutrients. I'm just going to go back to square one, right? And then it's going to start to panic. Okay, the body's under threat, right? The mind is under threat. I need to be able to get energy in, right? We're getting in all these different things. And, training starts to diminish and drop off. And all these sort of things start to happen. So if you're someone that's ever noticed these trends within yourself, maybe the approach is that you've gone too hard, too quick. So all we want to do is stress the body and the mind just enough, and also take time to rest and recover. Without being able to take time to rest and recover and also reflect on what's working and what is not, you'll end up repeating the same patterns, just like myself and just like hundreds of clients I've ever worked with. So here are the steps that you can personally take if this is you in this situation. And mind you, this is just based upon my personal experience and what I found that has worked. But of course, you're open to find and discover what works best for you, because it's always important to find things and take it with a grain of salt and explore and find what works for you. So we want to take a gradual approach. So if you're someone that's done many fitness challenges and you end up back at square one, have a look at what you're doing, okay? Within this, how much training are you doing from where you used to be? How much of a deficit are you in compared to where you used to be? What habits are hindering you from achieving those goals? And we start to look at it in this way, and we want to be able to break it down into measurable steps. So like if you're going from not training much at all and you want to start training up to 5 to 7 days a week to transform your body, come back to that stress. All we need is the minimal effective dose. The body doesn't know how much weight's on the bar. The body doesn't know how many times you train. It does feel it through the stressful experience, of course. But if we think about it, when we train our bodies, especially as natural athletes, we want to ensure that we've got time to rest and recover, right? So that could be anywhere between 24 to 72 hours. So what you could do is start training on a Monday, on a Wednesday, and a Friday, and allowing enough time to recover in between. Within those sessions, they don't have to be packed full of so much stuff, but they can have great intensity and great effort, right? You don't actually need lots and lots of volume to be able to create a response within your body. Like I said, the body doesn't actually know how much weight's on the bar, doesn't know how many sets you're doing. It only responds to the stress that you place upon it. So if you place just enough, you're able to create a response within the body. Now with your nutrition, it's really important that you want to start from a gradual approach in this aspect. If you drop your calories way too low, it's going to start to think, okay, there's something crazy going on. We're going to have to get calories back in. And of course, if you're someone that's got like massive willpower, you can probably push through that, but it's going to get to the end and the other side where you're like, oh my God, I can't sustain this. I'm going to eat all the food. So if you're going to be entering a deficit, do things gradually too, right? More is not necessarily better. Same thing with training, same thing with nutrition. Within this, a gradual approach. Make some food swaps. Are you eating enough protein? All of these sort of things you can start to question. Now, also understanding your habits. Maybe you've gotten through your path and gotten through your life and you've gone, you know what, I just resorted back to my bad habits on one of those days that really don't agree with me, and then they just sort of stuck there, right? Because they're easy. Even though I don't like them, they're just easy to do. Now within this, also understanding why. So just taking notice of the behavior without judgment, with a lot of compassion, and just going, how interesting. Because every action we do is serving a purpose. Every action is always bringing us back to some sort of state of balance. Even if it's a wacky sort of balance, it's still working in that way to what is familiar and what is easy. So if we start to think about it in that way, we first become aware, we understand it. We then start to map it out. What's the sequence of events that happen before I engage in this behavior? Then when we start to become familiar with our own pathways, only then can we experiment with different resources to potentially create a different outcome. But all of these things must be done gradually. And this is how we start to create sustainable change. So if you'd like to learn more about these methods and learn a sustainable way to achieve your goals in a way that doesn't kill you in the process, well, come and explore Flow and Grow, the 8-week transformational challenge at the Balanced Health Method. I call it a challenge because it will challenge you, but also because I hope that the people that come through who've done challenges before are also able to experience a challenge in a different way. We're not about transforming your body in 8 weeks to be able to sell more tickets to the next program. We focus on how you feel and setting you up for success for the rest of your life. I am honestly so sick and tired of the things that are out there that are causing people to continuously get back into these horrible dieting exercise regime patterns that leave them feeling defeated and feeling unconfident about their abilities to be able to execute and achieve certain things. So this program is all about challenging that area, and I hope that you can join us. I'll put the link below. I'd love for you to come and ask some questions or leave some comments on the video. This is my first video on YouTube, so well, talking like this anyway. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to be able to see you in our upcoming intakes in the program. I've also made it super low cost because at the end of the day, health shouldn't have to be so expensive, but I also have to cover some bills, right? So within that, of course, I try to make it as accessible as possible with Afterpay as well. So if you have any questions, you can reach out below. And I really hope that this sparked some curiosity in your health and wellness journey. And just remember, you're not broken. Sometimes it's just the way that we approach things and what we've been shown that may not necessarily work for the individual. It's all about exploring and finding what works best for you.